WBR, guys. As you all know, Golden State just beat Cleveland by 34 points. They beat my Cleveland Cavaliers, including LeBron James, by 34 points.
Beat?
In Cleveland.
Beat Cleveland? I think they need to think of a new word for...
They absolutely dismantled Cleveland at home, making them lose twice now at home. It just, in absolutely embarrassing fashion, I'll just tell you that. So my question is, what is your takeaway from this game? Curry had 35 points in three quarters.
Yeah, that's right. My takeaway, more so than anything, it doesn't have as much to do with GSW as it has to do with the Cavs. I thought they're ready. I thought they're coming. The more I saw them, they were gaining confidence. But it just seems like to me they're just not ready in terms of the pieces on the team and playing in big games and big moments. Especially Kevin Love. He's not ready. He doesn't like the spotlight. He's not, he always plays bad in these kind of games. So I think that's one thing. It's like, you're not going to win the game if J.R. Smith is your second best player on the floor.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. Even LeBron had a quiet game. But they all just looked like they were scared of this moment. That's my big takeaway. They were scared of the moment. Golden State was playing with the chip on their shoulder in Quicken Loans, in Quicken Loans after the Curry comments. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. So would you say it's the more of the offense or the defense for the Cavs?
Defense.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Because they couldn't score at all either.
They couldn't score at all, but they're just letting up, like they weren't D'ing up on transition. Curry was getting to all his spots, Kyrie wasn't D'ing him up at all. Mozgov looked lost out there on both ends of the floor. And, they had to rely on Varejao. Kevin Love looked lost. And then LeBron's just looking like, I can't win with these guys.
Yeah.
That's his body language. Is like, I can't beat this team with this personnel that I have. That's my takeaway. What about you?
So here's the thing. Like Cleveland Cavaliers last year in the playoffs, in the finals, they played a lot better than this game. But not only this game, against San Antonio on Christmas Day, they just played better. For the reason why I think they played really bad today, they just, I think it has more to do with Golden State and not so much Cleveland. The reason why I put Golden State as number one in the NBA for power rankings, they lost 2 games in a row. This was not going to be their third one. Curry just absolutely demoralized his players. So here's the thing. He got to his spots, and basically the game was over after the first quarter. They were shooting so many threes. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers don't want to play defense anymore because they're raining threes. And then when that happens, their offense gets stagnant. They don't know what they're doing, and they feel like they're kind of nervous because if they miss, they know it's going down the other side. For an Iguodala dunk, 5 dunks in 2 minutes or something. To me, this has everything to do with Golden State, and they're just a much better team than the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I predicted that that Golden State was going to cover the spread. I didn't know it was going to be this easily, of course, but at this point, they are the best team in the league. And to me, it's not even close.
I would agree with you if they were actually playing defense since the tip-off.
Yeah.
You're talking about how they get demoralized and how they're shooting the lights off. They're not even contesting the threes. They're not contesting the transition, the layups. Draymond's having his way multiple times. They just look scared from tip-off. I would agree with you if they were running their usual Cavs defense, and then they're just Golden State's raining on them.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. They were playing lazy defense, no transition defense. Curry got whatever he wanted, wherever he wanted. How are you supposed to beat these teams if you don't show up to play?
One thing is it is the regular season. We know LeBron, he's a playoff type of guy, and we know that. So when it comes down to the playoffs, he's gonna play a lot better. As for Kevin Love, this is the reason why he played for the Timberwolves. There's no primetime games. No one's looking at them. There's a magnifying glass on them at all times. In Cleveland, he's with LeBron James. They're expected to win. That's why he's failing under the pressure. It's the same thing with Aldridge. I said that Aldridge was going to have a bad game when San Antonio was playing Cleveland. I think it was Golden State that day. That's just how it is.
No, Cleveland.
Oh, it was Cleveland. Yeah. He had a bad game, subpar, and that's because all the lights are on him. He played for Portland. No one had their eye on them ever. So then when you get to these primetime games that are on ESPN, TNT, everyone's watching, that's when they play worse. Kyrie, even same for him, kind of. He doesn't play that good on primetime games.
Yeah, but that doesn't look good heading into the playoffs.
It doesn't look good. And that's why Golden State is just a much better team. And I've been saying that. They are the best team. They're better than the Spurs also.
We'll see soon. We'll see soon, but...
Like, this one here, I thought the line was going to open up at PK. It actually opened up at -3 Cavs, which was the only game for the whole season that Golden State were the underdogs. That's why I had to make the prediction that they're going to just cover the spread. It blows my mind, to be quite honest with you, how people are still betting on Cleveland Cavaliers against Golden State.
Yeah, but
Golden State's a better team.
You know how everybody talks about, the big three, this, that, and that.
Yeah.
If you want to talk big three, let's compare the old Miami Heat when LeBron was there, their big three, compared to this big three.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's not even close.
Yeah, but on paper, this Cleveland Cavaliers team should be much better.
On paper,
but they're not.
But they're not.
Yeah, the other one, because of their savvy.
So is it on LeBron that they're not where they should be, or what? Or is it, you blame Kyrie coming back from injury, he's still rusty? I don't have a defense for Kevin Love.
The reason, their defense being subpar, I think, yeah, to your point, that's probably the biggest thing for me. But at the same time, when Golden State, when you saw the threes Curry was taking, there was one, actually no, there was 3 of them in the first quarter that he was super deep, contested, just easily scores it. And then what are you going to do as a defender? And not only that, they get to the hoop, anywhere near the hoop, and the ref's just blowing the whistle. I don't know if everybody's watching what I'm watching, but anywhere near the hoop, Draymond Green, Curry, they get breathed on. They're getting a foul, so they can't touch them when they're in the paint. They can't let them stay outside the paint. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose games, especially because of how deep and how talented Golden State is. It's just that simple. They're the better team.
So if you're
way better.
So if you're saying if they meet in the finals,
yeah,
it's gonna be the same result.
Not necessarily, because it's a whole different thing in the playoffs though, and especially in the finals, because players like Sean Livingston, Barbosa, and all of them, those kind of role players, they don't play as good as they do in those primetime games. Even Curry. Curry didn't play very well in the finals last year either.
Sure, but there's players such as Iman Shumpert, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. They also don't play. They don't. Well.
But then LeBron's game gets heightened in the playoffs.
But we saw how LeBron's supreme talent can only get them so far.
Yeah, but that so far was very, very far. They nearly won. They had one shot to win game 1, which would have made them up 3-0, which would have been the highest chance of losing a 3-0 series in terms of numbers. But that's a whole other thing. They could have easily been 3-0 in the finals just because of LeBron's pure talent. That's how simple it is to me.
Yeah, I think the only way I see them winning, if that is indeed the matchup, it's got to be discipline. These guys don't play as a team like a Spurs or a Golden State do. OKC, they have the same problem.
Yeah.
On paper, let's say the Cavs and OKC, they're probably more talented in terms of just pure talent.
Yeah.
Those both teams compared to the Spurs or Golden State, but you see what happens when you play as a team. They still have their stars. Don't get me wrong, but their discipline and their teamwork really just overcomes the talent.
Yeah, but okay. In terms of OKC, in terms of the top 2 players on a team, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Kevin Durant and Westbrook are the best 2 players, tandem in the NBA. There's no way of denying that. They're the best 2 players. But like you were saying, they have that kind of thing where it's your turn, my turn. But lately, I will say they are playing better, because Westbrook is acknowledging the role of being the facilitator. His assist numbers are pretty high. His scoring has dropped.
Yeah, but you realize it's easier to win games. It's less on him if he just distributes.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's getting to his head. He knows that. Or it's getting to his head in a good way. He's learning from it, right? He is facilitating more. The best 2 tandem right now, it's Kevin Durant and OKC. So if any team has something to say to OKC to Golden State and San Antonio, it's OKC in the West. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
They can beat either of those 2 teams in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They can beat them and win the title.
Yeah. Well, one more thing to go back to the Cavs.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the coaching of the Cavs? Because they have all this talent.
No. David Blatt has no idea what he's doing. But I don't want to say it's entirely his fault, because LeBron is he's just so alpha. He's making his own plays. I remember David Blatt in the previous game before this he's making substitutions. LeBron's like, no. Like, sub someone else. Yeah, sub someone else. And then, Skip Bayless tweeted about that.
But say you get a coach with, like, somebody like, I don't know, like Coach K or something like that with, like, such rapport.
Yeah.
Like, how would this team look, right? Because
I think LeBron would, like, listen to him a lot more, and it would benefit the team. But since it's David Blatt, who's this guy? He's never coached in the NBA. Like, LeBron's coached more in the NBA than David Blatt has.
Okay, so hypothetically, they go through the playoffs and they fall short again.
David Blatt gets fired.
Is it time for a new coach, or is it time for a rebuild completely?
No, David Blatt gets fired. Or Kevin Love gets traded. Because I still think teams on the market are willing to pay him a decent amount, or like buy out his contract.
He's still valuable, but like...
Yeah, but not
he's getting exposed more in terms of the highest level, the highest level, right?
If you put him on a team with not that big of a market, so basically any team that doesn't have LeBron James in it, right? Let's say, hypothetically, you move him to back to Minnesota or something. That would be pretty cool, but as long as it's not a primetime location, I think he'll thrive.
So you just think he's a good numbers on bad team kind of guy?
Yeah, but if you put him on a team that sneaks into the playoffs and not too big, like Milwaukee, for example. They don't have too many big time games in the playoffs. Their first rounds are not going to be televised.
So when they're not expected to win is when
he'll
Kevin
play good.
Love shines, right?
Yeah, when people expect him to get big numbers, make big impacts in games because he's getting paid hundreds of millions now. That's when he's not. It's been years where he's playing on a team that no one expects anything from him. Mm-hmm. Same with Aldridge. That's why when it's big time games, they're gonna lose. They're not gonna play as well as they're accustomed to. That's my thing.
But then it's like they're starting like five. They have troubles in terms of defense, right?
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving, not known to be a defender. Kevin Love, not known to be a defender. J.R. Smith, he can defend, but like he's not known to be a defender. Yeah. Then you have LeBron and Shumpert, great defenders, but they can't do it all on that end, right?
That's what I'm saying. And when you look at it as an entire package, they're not as good as the Warriors. That's why going to Cleveland, it wasn't about having a higher percent chance to win. It wasn't about that. When he left Miami, the chances of him winning a title decreased.
That's he wanted to do it for his hometown. Yeah,
it decreased. If he stayed there, he would have been in the finals, guaranteed, with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and with Hassan Whiteside, because they would have had Hassan Whiteside with LeBron. They didn't trade or all that stuff, right? They could have not easily, but they could have beat Golden State or Spurs, whatever. They could have beat them. But since he elected to go to Cleveland, play for his hometown, it decreased his chance of winning, and that's his main concern, is winning a title for his city.
Okay. So does that drop the Cavs in your overall rating?
No, it doesn't. To me, they're still third because I don't look at it based on a regular season. Sure. No, I look at it in the playoffs. And to me, in terms of the playoffs, they're absolutely third. They have to be third. They're coming out of the East, unless Miami has something to say about it, and I don't think they do. So it's Cleveland versus Spurs, OKC, or Golden State, and I threw the OKC there on purpose because they can beat Spurs or Golden State.
The West is definitely going to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah. So, like another kind of storyline about the game, though, right, was Steph Curry's champagne comments. Basically, he was talking about how he reminded everybody about how there was champagne in the Cleveland locker room last year after they won the title. And then there was kind of some controversy about that because the Cleveland fans...
They took it some kind of way. The Cavs players, they took it as disrespectful.
Yeah. So what's your takeaway on this one?
Hey, I mean, now that in retrospect, now that we have the results, right?
Yeah.
He can say whatever he wants. 35 3/4. Yeah. He absolutely dismantled them for 34 points.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if he's thinking playoffs and this is the matchup, man, I'd smell some champagne too.
Yeah? Well, I'm going to have to completely disagree here. This was the most disrespectful thing I have ever seen. You're talking about LeBron James. This is his team. This is LeBron James. This is his league. This is the NBA. And you're talking about Steph Curry. He thinks he can just come in here and say all this stuff about like LeBron and basically disrespecting his team. You can't do that, especially not to him.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you mean? How was he being disrespectful? No. He was just saying the facts. Okay. The last time he was in the Quicken Loans Arena, they had some champagne. They were celebrating. He's good memories there. It's good vibes.
He's being a sore winner. That's what he's doing. You don't beat somebody and then pour salt on their wounds. You don't just do that.
Maybe he's trying to get a psychological edge.
It's like in MMA. You win the fight, the guy taps out, and you don't let go. You keep going. There's no point for Steph Curry to make these comments.
Yeah, but he didn't just randomly say that. People asked what it would be like in the Quicken Loans Arena. His last memory was champagne. You know, he's an honest guy.
He wins.
So he said, "It's I hope it still smells like champagne."
He wins the MVP. He wins the title. He doesn't even win the MVP of the finals. And this guy's talking all this smack. Who is this guy? LeBron's been in the league for how many years, being at the top of the pinnacle, and then Steph Curry wins one MVP, wins the title, and all of a sudden he can say whatever he wants about LeBron.
Hey man, number one in jersey sales, reigning MVP.
Come on, this guy's 6'3", man. He's like 190. You can't just say that, especially about the Cleveland Cavaliers that has LeBron on the team. That's the biggest thing.
Hey, maybe he's trying to take the throne, Man, Conor McGregor styles.
Man, if he said that about Dwayne Wade, I'm telling you, Dwayne Wade would be all up on him. But LeBron, he's a poised guy.
Well, LeBron kind of shoved him mid-game onto the floor.
Oh, dude, that was nice. But Steph Curry flopped, though. Come on. But speaking of flops, Anderson Varejao. What a flawless flop that game. He's going to get fined $5,000. 100%.
100%. Yeah, but LeBron's got that covered,
Oh, yeah.
LeBron will pay that for him.
Oh, yeah, that was a nice flop. But, I thought that was unnecessary. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to rub it in their face. But
maybe a bit of Draymond's rubbing off on him,
oh, yeah, that's true, because he's pretty arrogant. But maybe that was a bad thing he did that, because maybe in the playoffs LeBron's
he's gonna remember he's
gonna
talking
remember
about champagne.
And in the playoffs, this is another thing. Back to my point earlier. So in the playoffs, LeBron's game is gonna get elevated. It always has been. His points per game, especially in the finals, just skyrockets. All his stats do. The rest of his team, except for Kyrie, I think they're gonna play a little bit worse because of the pressure and all that. But I think all of Golden State's gonna play a little bit worse in the finals. Or in the playoffs in general.
We'll see. We'll see how the series goes. They might actually have challenges in the West.
Oh, yeah. They
might
really
have to
do.
go against first string guards this time, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think OKC is going to be a big factor because no one's talking about them right now, which is good for them. No one's talking about them. Westbrook's getting triple-doubles. Kevin Durant was player of the week.
Yeah.
But...
Well, Kevin Durant finally apologized to the media.
Finally.
In a weird, not apologizing kind of way.
He's a strange guy. I really have to tell
you.
I
think, like his camp just told him, it's like, dude, stop saying weird things to the media. Just apologize, get it over with.
Just go to Washington, man. If they don't win a title this year, or let's say he chokes, okay? Let's say Westbrook goes for 30, 10, and 10 average, and Kevin Durant chokes. They got to ship him. He has to go to Washington. That's the only way.
Well, I mean, any team's gonna take him, so there's no shipping him. They gotta retain him
to Washington. Right? They gotta go to Washington. Okay, he goes to Washington. It'll just flip everything upside down in the NBA. The Eastern Conference will be the team, or it'll be the conference to talk about.
So, maybe.
So that was just one game. Cavs did lose by 34 at home, which is unusual, but nothing out of the ordinary for me. Golden State, they're the best team in the NBA. Not only that, I think this is probably one of the best teams of all time.
Well, on pace they are, but
that's what I'm saying.
We'll see about who's the best team right now.
Okay.
When Spurs, they go to the Oracle.
When the dust settles, okay? So my question to you, though, who is going to lose their first home game? Golden State or Spurs? Because right now they're combined total, I believe it's 40-0 right now. Who will lose their first home game? First,
huh? Well, Spurs are gonna play Golden State at the Oracle first,
right?
So, if Spurs,
because either of them can beat the opponent
in their home floor,
either can, but who will though?
I'm gonna go and say Golden State's gonna lose first in this upcoming matchup.
Wow, okay, I like that.
You heard it here first, guys.
I like that. So not only am I gonna completely disagree with that. Golden State's not going to lose at home this year. Period. They're going to go 41-0 at home and break the 72-10 Chicago Bulls world record. So I'm going to leave it at that.
I don't see that happening, but hey, we'll see when the dust settles, right?
Yeah, that's it, guys. WBR signing off.
Peace.